Hi, welcome to Quantum Spirituality. I'm your guide, Jane Ritz, as we consciously create a life in love where the physical and spiritual meet. And I hope that you're doing so well wherever you are in this right now. I would love to share with you a little story, and I'm intending for this story to possibly land with some inspiration and clarity and maybe a little bit of like laughter. So I will say that what I'm about to share may be upsetting for some to hear. And if I were posting this on TikTok, I would have to edit my words and um, beat around the bush. And I'm not going to do that. So uh, I do want to share though that it could be sensitive. It could be sensitive. And if you're a human, you've likely experienced something along these lines. So take it all with a grain of salt. I know I have a bruise. Look at that. It's a good one. Like that's another story for another now. So I feel that I am, and many people are also experiencing this. I'm in a time of big transition. I am living a brand new life in this now that is, although it's technically a few months old, it's still very new to me. I am living a life of ease, of freedom. I'm living a life of choice and of abundance. And although I may have lived a version of this before, I haven't lived it in the way that I am currently living it, where I don't actually have to do anything else other than what I am currently doing. And so it's a really beautiful experience for me, and I feel super #blessed about it. And, um, but I do want to share a part of how I got here that most don't know. So I've been coming to Costa Rica since the very early part of 2021, spending long times here each time spending longer and longer of a time. And the first time I came, I was like, I'm going to spend an extended amount of time here. And my friends were like, yeah, I could see that. And I love this place. It's pura vida. It's pure life, and it is, which means that it isn't always rainbows and kittens and puppy dogs and unicorns, as you will hear chickens probably in the background and maybe a motorcycle or two. Um, but pura vida is pure life, and pure life means that there's going to be chaos and there's going to be ease. There's going to be times of going and doing, and there will be times of rest. There will be times of death, and there will be times of rebirth. There will be times of stillness. There will be times of movement, and it is all of it all at once. So some plants may be dying right now, and some may be thriving right now, and it's all happening at the same time. So this land has called me, and so I'm here. And when I got here, I was being shown very clearly to be still and listen so that I could be made shown what my next steps are to be. Cool, got it, been doing it. And something that I don't think many people know is the process that I want to share. And I know I already said that. So last time I was here for 3 months, and I spent the first couple weeks or so, a little over a couple weeks, deep in the jungle. I mean, like deep in the jungle. And then I spent a month at the playa, and then I spent the rest of my time in the mountains, and that is where I am right now, in the mountains. And when I was at the playa, I was moving through a really hard time. My physical body was um, going through a big challenge. Um, and at one point I thought I maybe need to go to the doctor, like the hospital, like the emergency room, because this isn't okay. And every time I Googled it, the Google was like, if you're experiencing this, it's fine. But if you're experiencing this, like this in this timeline, oh girl, you need to go to the hospital. And I was like, oh, that's where I am. But alas, I waited and I ended up being fine. So the first 3 weeks, 2 weeks there, I was pretty much laid out. Didn't really leave my room. And I would muster up the energy in the morning to go down to the beach, sit with the ocean, and pray. And then I would be worn out and have to go back to my room and nap the rest of the day. And so that was my pattern for quite some time. And some of the things that came up, um, that I would like to share were some of my prayers and desires when I was sitting there on the beach. Now, I want to preface this so that there's an understanding as to what I'm going to be sharing and like what. So, in the quantum field of all things possible, and everything is happening simultaneously now. There is no past, there is no future. It is just a frequency that we are living currently in, that we are experiencing in the space that we call reality or manifestation. And so in that, I feel like time is compressing and we're like moving through all these timelines, and it's like, whoa, am I living in my past or am I living in my future? I don't know, because it's all now. Ah. But all the all the realities that could have been are a reality. For example, this one time I was married. And he and I planned on being together until we died. Like, we even told people that in those vow things. And so in the vows, it was like, till death do you apart. Okay, cool. And so there's a reality where he and I stayed together and are married still. Now, he's not living that in his physical, obviously, neither am I. He's remarried to a beautiful woman. I'm so happy for them, like, so happy for them. And so, but there's the reality where H1 and I literally are still married. There's a reality where I'm still with my high school boyfriend because he and I planned on being married and living together forever. Little did I know that he was gonna become a crackhead. Who knew? He's okay now, hopefully. I don't know, hopefully. Anyway, he's fine. Sending him love. But there's a reality where he and I are living together, married, probably with children, probably living in a really nice trailer park in the Midwest. That's a reality that happened. There's a reality that I am still a hairstylist. There's a reality that I didn't go to college for psychology and or science, but I actually went to environmental law. So there's a reality that I'm like a kick-ass environmental lawyer that's, taking names. There's a reality where I, there are multiple realities. There's a reality that I stayed in the United States right now. There's a reality that I didn't leave Indiana. There's a reality of me that literally is living in Colorado right now with the guy that we were going to also get married. There were so many I was going to get married. Y'all, I just had one so far. I'm open. I'm just saying. Anyway, but there's a reality that I am living in Colorado with the artist that I was in relationship with before I knew that he was in another relationship and still a raging alcoholic. Who knew? And so I say that because there is a reality, and apparently there was a movie with Gwyneth Paltrow. I haven't seen it, so give me grace and the way I'll explain this. But apparently there's some movie where she misses a train, and the movie shows her life as she missed the train, and then it also shows her life as she did not miss the train. So that's actually how the quantum field works. every choice that we think and we kind of like project that reality out, there is an aspect that is experiencing that. We live in a multi-dimensional multiverse where anything is possible and it's all happening now. That's why I'm like radical acceptance, y'all, because some people are like dragons are real. Yeah, well, they are, because there's a reality that is. There's a reality where unicorns are real, where leprechauns are real, where angels are real, where demons are real. Like there's a reality where everything is real. There's a reality where nothing is real because it's all just energy and it's hasn't made manifest yet. This is the quantum. Anyway, so I say all of that because when I was sitting on the beach, this is a very personal share. So, um, but hey, this is how I'm experiencing my life is personally, right? So I was on the playa and I was processing a lot of grief and sorrow and disappointment and abandonment and neglect and those types of experiences and traumas and programs. And I was doing it very alone. And so I was sitting there at the shore and I was looking at the waves crashing. And I noticed that beyond the waves, beyond the break, it just looked like wavy water. Now, I can swim. I've swam my whole life. That being said, I'm not like a strong swimmer. I'm not going to do a triathlon because I don't know how to swim freestyle. I can doggy paddle like a mofo. I can do all types of other strokes, but like I haven't learned yet how to freestyle. So there's that. So I'm sitting there and I'm looking at where the waves break. And I thought, I wonder what would happen if I swam past the break. What would happen? And so um, so I started to ask Creator about that and the ocean. I was like, hey, ocean, if I swim past the break, are you going to bring me back to shore? Or are you going to bring me out to the depths of your body? Will you drag me out to sea or will you throw me back to land? And I contemplated that for the majority of the entire time that I was at the beach for the month. So basically 30 days. And it wasn't until the very end that I was two things. Thing one was I was having this conversation and I was like I've kind of done it all. Like I feel complete with my life, you know, like I've lived in the United States. I've traveled around the United States, haven't seen everything I want to. I'll never get to because I'm only going to live so long. Let's be honest. Like there's a lot to see. Um, and you know, I've had the job that I really enjoyed that made a lot of money. I had the job that was in service that I really enjoyed and didn't make much money. I've held events that had never been held before in a city that was so craving it that now it's like common practice for all these types of experiences and events and intentional gatherings are happening. So I'm like, I've done all this, right? I've been married. I've had the house. I've almost lost the house. I've been in accidents. I've prevailed. I've gone through heartbreaks. I've. And so I was sitting there and I was like, yeah, I think I'm done. I think I'm good. Like, I think I might want to swim past the break. And I imagined that. And I imagined what that would be like very clearly, um, to swim past the break and just allow, not fight it, not try to swim back to shore, but just let Pachamama's waters guide me out to sea or back to life land. land life, land life. Anyway, and so, um, Moto. Um, so yeah, I didn't swim past the break, because that day, I was sitting there and a woman passed me up and I was like, "Hola." She's like, "Hola." And then she walked down and I'm still sitting there. She walks back, like, "Hola." And then like I was in the water when she walked back the second time. And I was like standing there like, I could probably swim past the break. The break's not that far right now because the way the tide was. And, she said, "Hola." I was like, "Hola." Then I was like, "Nadar conmigo," which I think was like, "swim with me." And she was like, "See." So, so she gets in the ocean and she does not really speak English, and I really do not speak Spanish, but yet we could understand each other in the broken bits that we were speaking. And she shares with me that not long previously, that her friend had died in the ocean where we were. I guess he had been swimming and the ocean pulled him out and didn't make it, didn't survive that swim. And I was like, wow, that's intense. Like, well, let's send him some love wherever he is and let's have fun, and send that in gratitude for his life. And so she and I laughed and we played in the ocean and got out of the ocean and sat there on the beach. And she gave me a manzana and we ate it and took some little selfies and became little texting friends on occasion. And and that was the day that I was really contemplating swimming past the break. Like, not just contemplating it, but I was like in the water and I was like, I think I'm gonna do it. Fuck it, why not? And so obviously I didn't, because I met mi amiga. And so that day, there's a reality that I swam past the break. There's a reality that the ocean took me out to sea and had her way with me. And what I find really interesting and fascinating in this share is how I can feel now. The more deeply I become aware that we live in the eternal now, although I've known it for many, many moons. It's the name of the church that I created, is the Eternal Now Church, because it's the only thing that's real now, forever. And the more aware I become that we are in this eternal now, the more I experience my now with hints of other experiences kind of wafting in, if that makes sense. It's like I may be outside in my hammock here and I can smell what someone else is cooking in their home and I'm like, "Ooh, that smells good. Some patacones, give me some of that." Right? And so I'm getting wafts of realities that I am currently in some other dimension experiencing. And I'm experiencing them now. And for me, my belief is that I'm experiencing them now to bring forth a greater healing, to call back fractaled aspects of myself that I didn't even realize I had really projected that into like such form, that they're like parts of me that are like there, that I want to be here with me in this experience of now, and this manifested like solid sensory self that I have, this embodied me now. And this really came into my awareness because I was feeling, as I am listening to, what am I supposed to do next? Creator, tell me. Goddess, guide me. God, show me the way. I know, heart, I'm really listening to you the whole time. Um, but there's a part of me that feels friggin' lost at sea, yo. I feel like I'm just floating around and like, what the fuck is gonna happen? Like, am I supposed to swim? Am I supposed to be looking for an island somewhere? Am I supposed to be like grabbing some driftwood so I can, I don't know, build a boat? Am I just supposed to be like, screw it, let me just lay upon my back and float away? Like, what am I to do? What am I to do? So I feel like I'm lost at sea, but I don't have this like freak out of like, oh God, the ship went down and now I'm floating and I'm lost at sea. Although a lot of people are experiencing that shit right now. But I'm not, because it's my choice. I am choosing to be at sea. It was my choice to swim past the breakers, to see what would happen, to see how it would be held or not, to see if I would be uplifted or suppressed down until I drown. You know, like that was my conscious choice to do that. If you could see the color of these walls, I know the color doesn't quite pick up on here, but you can tell that my skin color looks weird. It's because the color of these walls, like, I don't even know, it's like an armpit stain. This was someone's conscious choice. What? So it was my conscious choice to swim past the breaker. I know, silly decisions. We all make them sometimes. But my point is that there's a reality that is me floating in the sea. I'm feeling that now. And I'm like, okay, so the me now, I get to experience, what does it feel like to have swam past the break? What's not killing me? Okay. So then what do I do? Do I call for help? What would that look like? I don't know, a mentorship, a coach, spiritual advice, a book, um, using some resources, phone a friend, whatever. Um, does this floating in the middle of the sea right now, does it look like doubt? Sure does. Am I going to make it? Am I going to survive? Am I going the right direction? Because I can't see where I'm supposed to go whatsoever, but I'm trusting something, because I can tell that every time I start to swim in a direction, that the waves are like helping me along, and it's actually kind of fun. I'm like, hey, or I'm like getting hit and it's like salt water up my nose and I feel like it's like a neti pot from hell. And so that's how I know if I'm going the right direction or not in my life. And this is parabolic in many ways. This is very true in many ways. This is so vastly true. And we're looking at the field of potential in the quantum, that there is a reality of me that is literally floating in the ocean, in the middle of the sea, not knowing what the fuck is going to happen, and really just being like, kill me or guide me to somewhere better. Here in my now, kind of like guide me to something better. This is great. I'm not complaining, but like guide me to my next better steps, my next way of being of service. Like guide me, show me the way. And if I'm done, then take me out. Like if I'm done, if I've checked all the boxes of Jane's life, I'm good. I don't think I'm done yet. I know I'm not done yet. Like there's so many more parts and moves to this game of life that I'm totally down to see. Just like, how does this end up? I'm so curious. So I share this because I feel that many people are feeling lost at sea. They don't know which way to turn. They don't know where to go. They don't know which direction to even start heading in, because maybe they're just not even accustomed to being lost at sea, or without a job, or without a relationship, or without the same home, or without their continuity that they've experienced their whole life, right? So that will make us feel lost at sea if what we've known has been taken out from under us, right? Then we don't have any leg to stand on. You got to get your sea legs then, because you're just floating in the ocean. So many people are feeling this like lost at sea. Which direction do I go? And there's so many people that like, we know the direction of where we want to go. We want to go to this highest timeline. We want to go to being a medicine person. We want to go to starting a business. We want to go to calling in the beloved, or having a kid, or whatever. And we know that, and we're not experiencing the benefits of that yet. So we're like just trying to get pregnant, or we're just starting the business, or we're just now getting on a dating app, whatever that is. We're just starting to, some people are retiring. So it's like, I'm just going to only partially retire. Like, I'm not ready to like dive right in. Or if I've dove, I never know the past tense of dive. If I doved, I know that's not right, but if I doved in to say retirement, well, then I'm still going to maybe go to work every couple days, or I'm going to be real busy in the house and like doing all these things on a list. So I'm still in the mode of doing, and I'm not just actually relaxing and resting and listening. And then when we're in that space of this floating at sea, because we're not here just for like 10 minutes, y'all. It's a minute. It's a hot minute. It's hot minutes. We're here for a while. And we'll come up and we might even like catch a vision of like, oh, I see land. I see people, I see boats, I see life over there. That's where I want to go. That's where I want to be. Yeah, that's it. And then the wave brings us down, and when it comes back up, we don't see it again. So we got to trust this instinct of like, okay, I'm going to trust the ocean is still taking me there, that life is still taking me there, that I am still guiding myself there through my intuition, my gut instinct, my devotion, my commitment, my desire, like my love, my joy, because I notice that every time that I'm, say, joyful and light and loving, that I'm more buoyant in this ocean of life. And then I get to catch the high wave and I get to see what's up, as opposed to me having to swim under the wave, because otherwise it just knocks my ass back. So I'm curious where you are, if you're swimming in this ocean of, I don't know where I am. Or like me, I know exactly where I am. I say that because I have no freaking clue. I know exactly where I am. I am in the unknown. I am in the great mystery. I'm in the womb of creation. I'm in the arms of the divine, creating my life, simultaneously dancing with the creation of life itself and partnering with creator. And I don't know what the end result's going to look like, because I'm not anywhere near done, right? Like, I'm nowhere near done. So all I want to do is like know the next best step. So if I'm listening and not flailing about in the sea, then I'll be able to hear and see what I am to do, where I'm supposed to go. I will be inspired for my next action. I'll be like, oh, I want to go. I don't know. I want to swim. I want to swim toward the sunset today. Whatever. So I wanted to share that. I wanted to share that, I am consciously creating a life in love. And that means that looks like sometimes I'm flailing in the ocean of doubt or the unknown. And old me would want to know the details. I want to know where I'm going, when I'm going to arrive, how I'm going to arrive. How do I need to dress? Does my hair need to be up or down? Should I be wearing makeup or not? Like whatever. And now it's like, no, you do you. If you want your hair up, you put it up. You want to put on makeup, you put your makeup on. You want to wear shorts, you wear shorts. You don't want to wear pants, you don't wear pants. And you let yourself be inspired and divinely guided to the next step. That is a new pattern. It's a new pattern of being. Right, it's a new way of being. It's new neural pathways in the brain. So that's a whole other experience right there. Like, that's a whole other game when we start talking about neuroplasticity and rewiring our neurons, our thoughts, which then lead to new actions, new words, and a brand new life, which means that both hemispheres of the brain got to get in sync with each other. So most of us have been one side dominant in the go do linear logic focus, do the thing program. that our creative mind is like, you've been shutting me up forever. How dare you? And so now they're like, oh shit, we got to get online. So those people who've also been like super head in the clouds and like, I'm just creative and I don't need a spreadsheet and I don't need a plan and I don't need to do anything. They're also getting this like, oh shit, I actually gotta make a plan, which is still in the ocean. It's just that now the universe is giving them like driftwood is a coming by and they're like, I guess I need to make a boat. So notice what you're receiving when you're in this ocean floating, if this is where you are, if you're with me. If you're in this ocean of the great unknown, notice what tools and things and beings and messages are coming to you. Notice how they're coming. That's why it's so important to have a devoted time to being still and listening. It is so important right now, for real. You can call it meditating, you can call it prayer, you can call it shut the fuck upery. I don't care, but it's being still and it's listening. And in that space of listening, we open up our magnetic field, which will draw forth to us everything that we need, especially if the heart is not in the space of like judgment or lack or fear or freak out or denial or shame or guilt or one of those frequencies. But if the heart's just like open and you choose to sit and be still and listen, then the heart's literally going to call forth what you need. So imagine you're in the ocean. You could be magnetizing to you like, how did I just get this big ass piece of fabric float by with these pieces of wood and rope, and now I'm just gonna play with it, and next thing you know, you just made a sailboat, and then the wind picks up and blows you just in the right direction. It may come in as an inspired idea, it may come in as an injury. Say you're in the middle of this ocean, you're flailing, right? I gotta swim. And all of a sudden you're like, ow, my arm, it hurts. I got a cramp. Oh God, got a cramp in my leg and I can't swim. And the only thing that you can do then is just get on your back and float, right? Well, that's because that's what you needed to do the whole time. You were just going, you were resisting because you didn't hear, just belly up, buttercup, relax. And in that space of not listening, the body will get the message because the mind is like, I'm not listening to you. But the body's like, you know what? I want to live. Because our body is its own consciousness, right? It's its own life entity that we are cohabitating with. Like, it's not like two separate things that are like, here's our shell and that. It's literally, it's like all mixed in together. It's like oil and water. They look separate until you shake them up. We're shaking. Still oil and water. They never really, anyway. Unless you get like eggs added and you make mayonnaise, but that's another story. I've never done that. That's one thing I want to do. I didn't bring so many things. I left so much stuff in storage, but I think I gave away my immersion blender. But that was one thing that I wanted to make was my own mayonnaise. I want to make my own mayonnaise. I want to put dill in it. I want dill mayonnaise. One day I'll have dill mayonnaise and I'll be like, I made it myself. That was the immersion blender. Anyway, so many of us are floating in this ocean, y'all. And the fact that I became so clearly aware that there is a very real version of me that swam past the break. Now, granted, at the time, it was because I didn't really care if I was living or dying. But then at the end of it all, my last prayer with the ocean was like, actually, there is one more thing. I've checked all the things off the list. So like, I feel complete. I mean, I'll still do more stuff, of course. But there is one more thing that I want to experience. So then it is. So I'll just be patient and see how that one aligns. And I'm just so curious. So until then, I'm going to float. I'm going to listen. And I'm going to see what I magnetize to me. Is it tools? Is it resources? Is it direction? Is it relief? Is it, cloudy days so that I don't get sunburned? Is it clear nights so I can follow the stars? What is it? But my eyes get to be open. My ears get to be open. I got to be able to see and I got to be able to hear. And if you're blind or deaf, it's all metaphorical. So everybody's included. So I'm so grateful that I met the goddess on the beach that day. I don't think I would have swam past the break, but apparently a version and timeline of me did. And she's floating and she's trusting. And that was so poignant for me because it was such a deep heart conversation. It wasn't like, screw you, universe, I want to die. It was like, nah, friend, like I actually trust you to guide me out to sea or to bring me back. So I am living and I am out to sea, and I have absolutely no idea of what's to come. And yet I am very clear and have been very clearly shown the possible timelines that the collective gets to live through. And so I know that I'm here for a big reason, and you are too. Whatever reason you're here for, you'll never even understand the gravity of importance. It won't be until you transition out of your body after you die that people are going to be like, oh my God, they did this, that, and the other. And we never really told them how cool that was or how brave that was or how dope that was. They were a pioneer in this and that, and they didn't even know that because they just kept pioneering. So I say that to acknowledge that for yourself. You are pioneering in many ways. I have been pioneering in many ways. And I know that I am currently pioneering in many ways that I don't really know. And I'm trusting that my ass is still going to be pioneering in ways that I'm trusting that it'll all be shown. But you're pioneering your life. You may not have started a multi-bajillion dollar business that, and you may not be inventing Velcro, right? Whoever invented Velcro, like, yes, so cool. But you know what I mean? Like, you may not be like in that realm of, whoa, they invented the light bulb, or the wheel or whatever. But you're pioneering your life, and all the cards that have been stacked against you. All of them that have been stacked against you. So many. And you're making it. You may be flailing out at sea. But guess what? You're flailing out at sea. You're not dead. You're here. And you're doing the best you can. My invitation is to be still and listen long enough to continue to be shown the next steps. Because what I'm finding is like the next step will be shown, and then it's like, okay, cool, I did it. Now what? Or that one step leads to a whole other like dance routine that I get to learn. So wherever you are, I am sending you so much love. And if you're swimming in the middle of the sea with me, may we float in grace and be guided to the shore safely, where we are met with abundance and prosperity and peace and open arms, where we are showered with gifts of love and joy and homecoming. And may our presence bring forth a sense of delight and purpose. We'll trust that that's been made so. And so it is. So thank you. Thank you for listening to my story and my experience and where I am now. If you would like any more information about me, what I offer, then you can go to my website. at the www.janetheguide.com. Comment down below where you are. You're like, yeah, I've been in the ocean, or I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm flailing, I'm swimming. I got a whole crew with me. I don't know. Tell me where you are. I'm curious. And subscribe. Share this, please. If you found it, I don't know, interesting, beneficial, interesting. So take care of yourselves and take care of each other. And above all else, just remember that you are love and you're loved. And I will see you all on the next now. Until then, ciao for now. Bye.